We've seen Kanan go through 3 seasons of emotional development, learning the game. In season 4, he's starting to play chess, not checkers. What's his blind spot going into this season?
His mother, per usual. I think that is the story we're telling. Is just it's a family drama, right? And we're watching a son try to do everything to protect his mother, and we're watching a mother do a lot of stuff in the name of protecting her son. I think family will always be, especially parents, that'll always be a weak spot or a blind spot for anybody. You know what I mean? I think that's a relationship that you try to honor. That's a relationship that you try to uphold. No matter, what might have been done. Sascha kind of talked about that earlier. No matter what shortcomings your parents might have had, there's still something that defaults in you as a child that wants to love them with everything. You know what I mean? No matter how disappointing they have been, there will always be that side that wants to be loved and love. Um, and that's what we see happening in season 4, especially. There's just more and more that Kanan unfolds and discovers that pushes him further away from his mother, but in the same token, there's still some sort of, want for that love that he's finding in these other places with Snaps, with Pops, with Crystal, with Juke, with just all of these other places in the world that he's now building. He's building for himself, but he's also building with the hope of this sort of approval and love.
Absolutely. So, on that note, Sascha, we've watched Kanan's emotional growth and his challenges throughout the seasons. How have you balanced in season 4, pushing him deeper into the game, but still dealing with the challenges and growth and the character driven aspect of his character?
Yeah, I mean, I think, it's funny. I think I completely agree with everything MeKai said. And I think about the blind spot. I also think Kane's other blind spot is himself, right? Which is to say, he still doesn't quite know who he is, and he's still trying to figure that out. And that's a complicated journey for him because so much of who he is informed by his mother, and yet he has this very complicated relationship with his mother. So, I think for Kanan, the journey across season 4 in terms of sort of balancing all that stuff is, he's a kid, and it's like I have younger sons, and one of the things that's kind of amazing about like a 17, 18-year-old kid is like, they know enough that you can let them out of the house, but on some level, they're still like 5 years old in their brains. You know what I'm saying? They're still figuring shit out. And they don't have great executive function yet. And so I think for Kanan, a lot of his journey is sort of like he tries something out, it goes poorly, then he tries something else out, then he tries, that's kind of the back and forth for him, because he's a kid, and he's been put in these adult situations, and yet he still functions as somewhat of a child, and especially his mother's child. So, I think that's sort of part of his journey across the 4th season. But really, I think by the end of the 4th season, especially, he starts to see things. I don't know if I'd say sharper focus, but he starts to see things through a very, very specific lens. And I think that starts to sort of wreak real havoc on his life and, frankly, his sense of himself.